And good morning, welcome back to Daybreak on this 11th day of May 2021. My name is Sam Gituku and it's now 22 minutes to 7 o'clock, and it's time that we want to pay some special tribute to the learners that excelled yesterday or got their results yesterday. That is the KCSE class of 2020, and of course described as a class that really went against the tides or the situation that was and managed to score up to 893 A's. And as we dive into that, let me begin by introducing the panel of the guests that are already in studio. We have Vincent Oburu from Thika. He's an electronics technician. We also have Eunice Victoria Omolo, who is a career transformation coach. That's unique. We have Dr. Agnes Wahome, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the Kenya Universities and Colleges Central Placement Service. Karibu sana to the show.
Asante.
And we have Dr. Njoki Fernandez, who is an obstetrician gynecologist. These are the people who scored airplanes, yeah? The doctors. She'll be telling us about that. She's laughing. I'm sure she's in agreement. And let's begin by first of all looking at the scores that were posted yesterday, the grade distribution. We know that airplanes were 893, an increment, just a slight increment from what was in 2019. A minus, an increment of 600 to now stand at 6,420. The B plus also increasing to 14,427. B plane 25,207. And because we may not look at all the grades, those that scored a B minus were 38,194. A C plus were 57,999. And those that scored below C plus were 600,159. And there's another slide that we'll be looking at later on that will tell you that those that scored below D plus or D plus and below were 405,000. That is why we're having this conversation, because there are those that will be not so happy with what they scored. There are those obviously that are happy to have excelled, especially the top candidates that you see on the front pages of the Daily Nation and the Standard. So we're looking at the options. What do you do after you receive the results, and what does it mean? Does the grade that you scored in KCSE determine who you become in your life? And I want to start by telling the personal stories of the people that are in studio. I don't know where to begin. Let me begin with you, Vincent, because you've been talking to me for longer. And you tell me that in 2004 you sat your KCSE, scored a D plus.
Yes.
What was that like? And quickly, how have you been able to transform that to what you're doing now?
Well, the D plus was kind of discouraging, first of all, but on the other hand, all that matters is what you want to be or what you want to achieve in life. Mm-hmm. But sometimes you find that what you need to have that time during that stage of exam is the highest score for you to do whatever you want to do in college. And you end up, when you end up with something that is not what you expected, mm-hmm. then you become disoriented. Mm-hmm. So from there, I just decided now to begin from, grassroots now, mm-hmm. from low, I can say. Build myself up, trying to build myself up, hustling here and there. Mm-hmm. That is when you know that it is you and life. And me being coming from a very not so well up family, mm-hmm. you find that you have to work on your own, think on your own. Mm-hmm. But the only thing that I can also say to sum up all this, you need to have somebody to hold your hands.
Right.
Because the moment that result gets out, you feel heartbroken. And you feel there's so many people who are maybe wamejifungia hata kwa bedroom right now crying, just this is not what I expected. Mm-hmm. And then if you just end up there, you will find that you start having some small groups in the estates. That is where you start walking around, just enjoying maybe some small raha kidogo like kuchonga, kuvuta sigara and all that. You join some bad groups. Mm-hmm. If you lack somebody to guide you, that is when you lose everything now. You become, it can lead you to an extent of even becoming a gangster.
Mm-hmm. But then you're able to avoid that route and
yes,
able to study.
actually.
How did you decide on how to study?
Okay, I wanted to be a radio presenter, but that one I never made it there. Since I had a passion in electronics, small electronics, wanted to, a curiosity of knowing how the radio works. How do I listen to this guy here and he's not here, and how it works and all that. And from there, I started to just gain more interest in that. And then I joined, there is a guy that we used to do some sound engineering, I can say, in our church. So I gained interest in how to know how the amplifiers works and the sound, how it works and all that. That is where I gained my line of, you know, based on electronics. But it decided to teach me just out of, you know, goodwill. Like, I will teach you how to make, to assemble these things and how they work.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, we'll get back to the story of the details about your way up. But currently, what are you doing?
Currently, I am doing, actually, I'm dealing with speed governors, car tracks, and also some other small projects that maybe God willing, we might roll out. It might be something that will make difference in other people's life.
I hope Dr. Njoki Fernandez, you're listening, because he's hoping to roll out major developments. But Eunice Victoria Omolo, you're a career coach. You're telling me about your story, scoring a discipline. Which year was this, and how has that been?
Yes, I did my KCSE in 2009, where I scored a discipline. So I remember that day very well. I come from a family where education is so much valued. We are about 10 of us, and all of us have degrees. It's so much valued, and the mark you get is very important. Especially to my dad, it's so important for you to pass, yeah? And my dad and mom used to watch the KCPE and KCSE results every day. Like, they literally follow it, and compare it with the other years. So I remember that day, when I got my result, it was on a text, Eunice Victoria Omolo, mean grade up was C-plane. And I had a family friend, yeah? This family friend was the top person in Kenya. So we had to go and celebrate him. So my younger brother also had his results the same year, but he scored higher than me, yeah? So we had to go celebrate this person who was the top candidate. So we went there, and I had to keep quiet about my marks. No one congratulated me. I remember us cutting the cake and celebrating so hard, but me, you failed.
Celebration, obviously.
Yeah, so it was quite disheartening for me. It means I had to kind of, you know, start afresh and prove that I'm worth, yeah? So when I went back home, my mom asked me, so what do you want to study? I didn't know what I wanted to study, because I wanted to be a doctor, yeah? And I was always encouraged, because you're caring, you know what to do, you know how to care for people. I think you'll make a great doctor. And that's what I wanted. And with the mark I scored, I was like, we're not going there. So I went to Daystar University, where I started by pre-university. Normally, when you get a C, you go through pre-university on those years, and then you start your degree. So I went through that, and then the university said, according to what I scored after pre-university, I was now to pursue a Bachelor of Arts degree in communication, which I was excited about, but I didn't know how to talk, yeah? So I was like, okay, let me just study this program, but I'm not sure if I should tell anyone. So it was quite embarrassing for me to say even I'm studying that. So I went through it, but something I did when I started studying, because I knew I had to work harder than anyone else, because I wasn't, you know, so bright, you know. So I started
also
a company. Yeah, I started a company to read hand in hand.
Okay.
So I'm doing my company, I'm doing my degree.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, we'll get to that, because you're now saying that you studied a communications degree after, of course, going through pre-university. You're the chief executive officer of the agency that is responsible for placing at least the 143,000 that have scored a C+ and now will find their places at different universities. What was your story like?
Thank you. Well, I did my KCSE in 1989. This was the first class of 844. And we had our own challenges. We really didn't know what was ahead of us. We had challenges with the subjects. We had new subjects. We didn't know whether we were to cover everything expected up to, in the 4 years that was supposed to be done in 6 years. So it was a bit of a challenge. Again, I went to a new school.
So what did you score?
I got a C+. plus.
Oh, a C+.
Yes.
So you qualified to join the university as early as then?
Yes, but I wasn't happy with my score.
Okay.
Because I went to a national school. And this was Moi Forces Academy, Lanet. We were the first class. So we were 6 of us who scored a C+, and we didn't have any other higher grade than that. So I wasn't very happy with that. So, and I clearly did not know what direction I was going to take. So I was good in music, drama. I was a great actress. So I thought probably that direction. My mom was a teacher, so I thought I could be a teacher. My friends said I was very caring and I should do nursing. I took care of people's small wounds in school. So I actually got out of school without knowing what direction. So when the results came out, we were hanging out with friends and we heard there was some intake at KMTC. So we decided, why not go and check out what was going on?
Right.
And we were to queue. So if you want to do nursing, you queue here, pharmacy, like that. So I looked at the shortest queue. And this was oral health. I didn't know what that was all about. So I went, I queued, presented my papers, and in 2 weeks I got my admission letter.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
I find that very interesting. That
So
you're choosing a course based on the length of the queue.
The length of the queue. So I went in and I started off my diploma, 3 years diploma in community oral health. By the end of, no, this was in second year, beginning of second year, we got admission to the university. But by that time, I was in a stable relationship, and I didn't think it was necessary to
go to the university.
Yeah, to leave the environment that I was in. So I chose to stay. By third year, I was married and had a baby. But when I got out into the work environment, I realized I didn't like what I was doing. Every day, meno gani inauma, imeuma kwa muda gani, you know, day in, day out. So I still found I was more of a communications person, an arts person. Yeah, and I just went back to school, did my degree in communication and sociology, master's in medical sociology.
Wow.
And my PhD in health communication.
No, take me slowly. Master's in what?
Medical sociology.
Medical sociology,
And a PhD in health communication.
Wow.
All this is just about behavioral sciences. Yeah.
Wow, that's very interesting. From oral health to PhD health communication.
Yeah.
Dr. Njoki Fernandez, are you the only one here who has known exactly what they wanted to do? What was your score and when was it?
Good morning everybody, and the stories are so inspiring. I don't think mine is such an inspiring story. So I did my KCSE in 1996 in Precious Blood Riruta. I got an A-, and I was very clear at that point that I wanted to do medicine. And that was an interesting year because in that year in our school, we had the largest number of medical school candidates. So when we all went to the university, we were like half the class. We were so many, and that was the year we had done the best in the country. So we were quite a crowd, and we went into medical school. And for me, it was kind of like straightforward, you know, really what I wanted to do. And so I did my undergraduate at the University of Nairobi. I did my internship in Kenyatta National Hospital, and I went back almost immediately and I did my postgraduate studies in obstetrics and gynecology. I practiced medicine for some time, and then I realized I'm better, not in the, I'm a very good doctor, yes, but I'm better more in the healthcare administration, healthcare financing. So I branched off a bit into the healthcare financing aspects of medicine. So that's where I am. That has been simple, no exciting stories, but yes, it doesn't matter where you start, and it actually just means the journey and where you're going and your focus every day. So, Madam CEO, that's such an inspiring story for many people. You know, it doesn't really matter what you got in KCSE. You're a whole chief executive of such an important institution in the country. I mean, who would have known? So I think it's an amazing testimony to all the ladies and all the children who are feeling a bit down today. It doesn't define your future.
Right.
It just means you just need to be more determined. Yeah.
Of course, I get the pleasure of not disclosing what I got because I'm the host of this show this morning. But maybe it's the reason why I'm here. But let's talk about what are the learners that got their results yesterday and what they are saying they want to be. Just a sneak peek of a few, because the class was large, 747,000, but you have gotten the privilege of airing some of the few that graduated or got their results yesterday. Listen.
I want to become a doctor, that is a neurosurgeon.
I'd like to take a course in medicine and surgery in the University of Nairobi, and maybe thereafter I'd like to major in oncology.
I'd like to become a doctor.
Aww. Amen.
All right, so they appear to be attracted to what Dr. Njoki Fernandez eventually became, or what she did, because she's in the medical field. But then again, one to them, they may not have very interesting stories. Let's listen to what the Cabinet Secretary, or rather, let's take a look at a slide that tells us about the class of 2020 and why we need to have this discussion. And this is about the, look at that, C+ and above, 143,000. So those can get opportunities to join the university immediately based on the courses they've selected, and you'll be telling us about that, the CEO. Below C+, there are so many, 600,159, and these are the people that Professor Magoha was saying they can find places which you'll be listening to. D+ and below, 405,247. Again, such a huge number, and those that scored a grade E are 28,046. And these are some of the people that may feel like they didn't do what they were supposed to do, and they're feeling like, now what next? But Professor Magoha has something to say. Listen.
Ladies and gentlemen, the number of candidates with minimum university entry qualification, which is grade C+ and above, rose to 143,140, representing 19.03%, compared to 125,747, representing 18% in 2019. The message here is this: all the remaining candidates are eligible to join TVET institutions, teacher training centers, medical training colleges, and other tertiary learning institutions at various levels, from artisan to degree level.
All right, and now CEO Coops, of course, the learners now, they had selected their courses before they left school. Now the results are out, they'll need to revise. Tell us about that process, and especially how many placement positions do you have in terms of the capacity, and where are these learners supposed now to choose their courses from, now that they have the real results?
Okay, thank you. Now with 143,140 that qualify to go to the universities, we also have over 380 capacities in the TVET institutions that are under the Ministry of Education. So we have the...
Is it 380?
Over 380,000
okay.
capacity for students who had C and below in TVET institutions that are under the Ministry of Education. So in total, that is... For the universities, actually, we have over 200,000. So in total, just within the Ministry of Education, we have over 500,000 places for these students. So for the other 200,000, because in total there were 700,000, yes, we have private TVET institutions, we have other private universities that are there. We have institutions under different ministries, like Ministry of Transport, the MTCs that the minister, so there is an opportunity for everyone. We actually can't fill all the training opportunities that we have in this country.
Right.
Which is a good thing.
But, no, go ahead.
Yeah, so now the process started off when the students were in school, and we availed the opportunity for the students to choose their careers. We encourage them to do this while in school so that they get advice from the teachers, and we also have our officers who go around in schools to assist in this. Then once the results are out, maybe in the next 3 weeks, we'll be opening our systems for the revision exercise. So this is where they look at what they scored against what they had selected and what they actually want to do. Again, we have, we run a campaign at this time.
Okay.
We have our officers in different Huduma centers who are stationed there, and they help the students make their choices. Now, what exactly do we look at? We start by asking the children, what are you good at? So what do you love doing? So that we start from there, because a lot of times you find students are going for what the teacher thinks they are good at, what the parents think they are good at, or what the parents felt they would have loved to become. So if I would have loved to be a doctor and I didn't make it, I have an opportunity to push my child to be what I didn't make it to be, which is not a good thing. Some I'd like to also mention that now that the results are out, an A student who has good grades in all the subjects has a difficult challenge choosing their career more than that C student who has probably done well in very specific subjects. Probably they had a technical course like fine art or, you know, and they are clear where they want to go. But we have a big problem at COOPs with students who score the, you know, those high grades, because there's a lot of social pressure.
Right.
Yeah, so there's pressure from school, there's pressure from home, from their peers. They want to do what their friends did. You find a student who has a B+, for example. They have the grades to do medicine, but not as a government-sponsored student, because all the A's will take up the scholarship, the government scholarship. So convincing this student that, yes, you can do another course, or you can still do medicine, but as a self-sponsored, it becomes such a challenge. We end up with students, when I look at the students I'm handling, who are either deferring, transferring their courses, are students who took medicine because of those social pressures.
Social pressure.
Yeah.
Okay, and we'll get into the details about that and the satisfaction that people have to struggle with as they revise and revise and revise. But Dr. Fernandez, so during your year in 1996, you scored your A-. There are many of you that want to study, excuse me, medicine. What was driving your class and your cohort, and what are the challenges that your class faced? Because these days we hear of people that have gone up to third and they realize, no, this wasn't for me.
Yeah. I think what the CEO is saying is very important, and we are seeing this more and more today, that children will choose a degree course because of some parents want to live vicariously through their children. So if I didn't make it to medicine, I want my daughter to be medicine. There's this whole assumption, and let me call it an assumption, that medicine is prestigious and there's a lot of money in medicine. Well, by the time you're making your money in medicine, you're old. You're in your 40s, like me, in your 50s. That is when now you're at a stable curve to earn a decent career in medicine. Now, medicine has a long learning curve. And before you even get into the long learning curve, the study of medicine is difficult. You have to have the capacity to absorb a lot of information within a short time. There's a lot of pressure. And remember, you're dealing with human beings. So there's also that aspect of dealing with sick people and all the pressure that goes with it. So before you choose a career in medicine, you need to look at yourself and think, is this my personality? If you get queasy at the sight of blood, or someone vomiting, or you cannot look at a wound without feeling that you want to faint. Clearly, the human body is not for you. If you're not able to put in long hours of study individually and, you know, driving yourself, clearly medicine is not. If you're not able to understand difficult terminologies, clearly medicine is not. If you're not a person who can go through the long haul, medicine is not a career for you. And this is what parents need to sit down with their children and talk to them about. Because it's true, you can go and pay for them the parallel degree course and they'll get into medicine. But within 2 years, they're dropping out, because that is when the reality of the grind of that career. And this, I suppose, is for all careers, not just medicine, civil engineering, electrical engineering. I can't draw to save my life. So telling me to become an architect or an engineer, I'm a failure. I can't see in 3 dimensions. You know what I'm saying? I can do math. So look at the capacity of your child in the long run. Will they manage? Because it's prestigious to say, yes, my daughter is in medical school, but they're suffering and they're not able to make it. And you can imagine after 3 years, you have to drop out and start again in another career.
Right.
It's also even demoralizing and breaking to the child. And I like what Madam CEO has said again, that the children who score the top grades are the ones who struggle the most, because the world is your oyster. You can choose whatever you want. You go and choose actuarial science because you have an A, not realizing the difficulty that actuarial studies, you know, is. And then after 3rd year, you're dropping out. And yet the person who got a B plus and they're very sure they want to do BCom, they're in their BCom and they're enjoying their life and they're succeeding. So we managed as a class, just to go back to your question, but a few of us dropped out along the way. Brilliant people who got A's because they realized maybe they were part of the bandwagon, kind of, and they're in other careers doing brilliant, you know.
Right.
So I think it's just about really discerning where you want to be and what energy you have to get there.
All right, Dr. Joki Fernandez, they are very important, and this is not to discourage anybody from going to pursue the tough courses, including medicine. No, it's just for you to be aware.
No, absolutely not. Just to be very clear and get people who are honest, who have lived through the career, then they can take you through the darkness. You know, forget the glamour. Take you through what actually means to qualify and to work in that profession. Then as you're going in, you're very clear what it is that you're getting into.
Okay, all right. I want us to cross over to Nyeri County, where Martin Munene is standing by with a candidate who scored, is it an airplane of 82 points? Martin, good morning, and congratulations to the candidate that you are with. What can you tell us about them, and what do they want to be when the right time comes?
All right, a very good morning to you, Sam, from Nyeri County. And like you put it, we have a student here, his name is Ian Mathenge, who was able to get a plain A, 82 points from Alliance Boys High School. And I want to have a conversation with him. You know, there's a joke going around, Sam, saying to some people, this exam ilikuwa mboga, meaning that it was easy for them. And I think this is one of those people. But of course, times are difficult. And I want to have a conversation with him around the same so that we know what his dreams are and what life has been. Welcome, Ian, to Citizen TV. First of all, congratulations for your great performance. I want you to tell me, how has it been for you? It was a very difficult year, and maybe what do you want to become once this is over? What are your future plans?
Okay, thank you. My name is Ian Madenge Deguri. So I'm from Alliance High School, where I joined after getting 408 marks from St. Thomas Catholic Academy. Yes, the journey has not been easy, and to attain this A-plane of 82 marks, I have really have to work hard, especially because after the pandemic struck the whole world, we had to go a difficult time. Yes, because especially for those 7 months when we were supposed to be reading, but at some point when the journey became tough, yes, because the time was too much. I thought after like 3 months I wasn't able to read again, because I thought whatever I'm going to read I might even forget. So I even gave up on reading, and when we came back to school I realized that many students had been reading at home. So this struck me very hard, and I realized that I have to cover up for the time that I had not been reading at home. So the time after we joined school, after the schools had been reopened after the COVID-19 closure. I really worked hard, and as many people say it, that for you to be successful, you have to work hard. And many people think it is a cliche, but I have come to understand that in everything, in every aspect, including KCSE, you have to work very hard and very smart indeed.
All right. Did you expect to get an A and an A of 82 points?
Yes, I was hopeful I would get the A plane, but you know, you never expect. I never expected that it would be 82 points, but I'm very glad that I made it, and my hard work has been paid.
Of course, we understand that the exam is just a hurdle that you cross over. Of course, you've done it very well. So, what are your future dreams? What do you want to become once you leave high school like you've left?
Yes, and whatever even motivated me when I was reading for my KCS. It's not just getting the grade, because getting the grade does not guarantee you anything. It just gives you a pathway or a passage to join a course that I would like to join. So I would like to do medicine at especially the University of Nairobi, because I have a passion for helping people, and those even people who are in need, those who are in pain. I would like to see people changing from being painful to getting back to life and going back to their normal lives. And even during this COVID-19 pandemic, I would like to join the other medical personnel in recuperating after the pandemic.
All right. Medicine, of course, is not an easy course. But again, neither was KCSE, and you are able to do it and make it. So my question would be, when did you start having this dream? Is this just a thing you picked up of late, or is it something that you've always wanted to be? And of course, it's not an easy journey. Have you talked to people maybe who are in this field? Do you have an idea of what it's like to go through training to become a medic? Or is it something that you're just going to experience anew?
Okay, whatever motivated me is I started getting this dream of doing medicine when I was in class 4, and when I met one of the doctors in MP Shah Hospital, and he was interested in me and showed me some of the procedures that are done during the radiotherapy. Can't remember his name, but that really motivated me, and since class 5 I've always wanted to do medicine as a career. And as you have said, many people have it that medicine is not an easy course. And when we were in class 4, class 5 was difficult. When we were in class 8, Form 1 was difficult. And we got Form 3, Form 4 was difficult. And after KCSE, medicine is difficult. So if we have done it all those many years, I believe that medicine will be an easy task for me.
All right, Sam, he says it as he sees it. He has said that it is hard once you're in class 4 to go to class 5, but he's been able to come all through up to getting an 82 or an A of 82 points at his national examination, and he believes that he'll be able to go to study medicine, and he says that it's a dream he's had since he was in class 4. That's Ian from Nyeri County. We're in Kiando, and I bring it back to you in studio, Sam. From here, I'm Martin Munene.
Very interesting conversation there. Very confident young man, and wish him all the best. Dr. Njoki Fernandez, you're in good company. They all want to be doctors, and we wish them well, because we need those. We could need a lot of improvement in the healthcare services in the country, and it can only take professionals to do that. We want to take a short break. I've not forgotten you. We're taking a short break so that when we come back, we continue to talk about the class of 2020 and what options exist, especially now that we know not so many will manage to go for the premium courses. What are the options that exist? Of course, we hear that already there are 380,000 capacities at TVET institutions of the Ministry of Education, and so many of the learners will get an opportunity there. What does it look like, and what must you consider as you make that decision? After the break. All right, of course, the celebrations that were yesterday of the top candidate, that is Robinson Wanjala, the top candidate in the KCSE 2020. The celebrations are not happening everywhere across the country because not everyone was able to score as they had wanted. But let's get back to this. And Vincent, you had been talking about your journey into choosing your career, obviously, and you hear all these stories about people with the premium grades choosing premium courses, a very difficult decision to make, but also a very difficult path for you to study.
Yes.
And now you chose to go for a certificate in, what was the course again?
It was electrical and electronics. And
so where was this, and who told you about it?
Actually, there was a teacher who was our church member. And he told me that it was just something that I usually use every day. Not everyone will become a doctor. What about that person that will be driving the ambulance, or maybe, let's say, that guy who will be maintaining the machines? What about that person that not everyone will become a pilot? What about the person who will be washing that the plane?
Right.
So there is somewhere for you. And akanishika tu mkono akaniambia, we fanya kitu, just unaweza anzia na story ya bridging, and then from there ufanya certificate, and then from there uanze pole pole tu utajikuta hata hiyo university umefika. So during that time ilifika tu level yenye una balance everything, because you are trying to pay for yourself, you are paying rent, and you are doing this. I was working even in a car wash somewhere, and trying to.
And at this time you're a student.
Yes. And after 3 months, you find that the house that I was living in was 1,500. 1,500 I didn't pay for 3 months. So nikirudi, you are like 3 months imeisha, you are free now, you have 1 month break, you have to work, look for 4,500, pay that rent, until tukakuwa mabishte sana na the caretaker. Ikakuwa sasa anajua, he understand that after 3 months,
that's when you pay.
Yes. After 3 months I'll be paying. So I used to do that 1,500, I struggle here and there, cook for myself, do everything. You know, I was still young anyway.
At the same time, you're learning your life skills.
Yes, life skills. But my changing point was during that time, nikiwa car wash, the owner of the car wash alinunua a bigger machine. So it used to run for like 10 minutes, 30 minutes inazima, 30 minutes inazima. So like I went to kuangalia kwa circuit breaker, nikakuta inazima, inaangusha circuit breaker. That is the language I can use. Wanasemanga kuangusha circuit breaker. But nikawambia, then hii circuit breaker yenye unatumia ni kidogo compared to ile moto yenye machine inataka. So machine ikiwa inavuta, the circuit breaker inakuwa strained, ina switch off. So this guy asked me, so you know this how? Because unajua watu wa car wash, they are just, unaona hivi, you don't
think they know so much.
Umejuaji, you don't, look at this. This one is the amperes that inatoa, na ile yenye inahitaji is way too high compared. So akaniambia, so nikienda ninunue niweke itafanya? Akamwambia yes. Akaenda na okay, alikuwa a distance from Thika town, akaenda kufika, akanipigia simu akaniambia, sasa niko kwa duka, what will I do? Hebu nikamwambia, do this, patia huyo jamaa simu, wanani simu muongee. So I gave nikamwambia, mpatie circuit breaker yenye inaweza work na kuka ile ya nyumbani. I know, because that is the only thing inatumia moto mingi, kuka na shower. So akampatia, nikamwambia okay, plus the tester and that screwdriver akuje nayo. So kufika hapo, I'm like, lete, fungua. This guy is like, unajua kenye unafanya kweli? Really? Hata wengine, you know, my fellow wenye tunafanya nao wanasema mbali. And I fixed it, nika replace the other one, and then nika run for like the whole day. From there akaniambia, sasa hii machine, unajua alikuwa na machine ndogo, so hii machine ndogo nataka utengeneze kando tena ingine, PowerPoint yake. So nikamwambia ni waya utanunua, nikampatia gauge ya waya. Akaona, this guy, you're talking of gauge, you're talking about amperes, you're talking about what it seems you know things. Yeah, I know things actually, I mean,
and you learned all these things after a period of how much time in college?
It is like, it was 1 year, 2 years there, but I used to have books, Googling and all that. Even in high school, I used to have books that are not even concerning me.
Okay.
They're just how the circuit works and how...
So you're looking for knowledge elsewhere?
Yes, yes, yes.
All right, we'll get back to that. But Eunice, so listening to this is someone who had wanted to be a radio presenter, and they didn't perform as they had wanted. Now they have the grade, disappoint a little bit, then they find something to do, then they realize they actually have a passion. How does all this contribute to the courses we take at the university or at college or whatever level it is, but eventually what we end up doing? Because even yourself, you're not doing what you started off as doing.
Yes. There's something I've learned in psychology. It's called the wheel of life. You know, life is not only about education. It's not only about a career. It's not only about family. It's not only about money. It's not only about your duty as a citizen. But for you to have the will, for your will to flow, you have to have all of them. So what you study is not necessarily your career. Yeah. For me, I've had a cleaning business. I've had to be a sales administrator. I've had to be a consultant in different trainings. I'm now a lead trainer somewhere else. You see, all these come up to a career. So what you study is not necessarily your career, but if it is, congratulations, you're at luck. But sometimes you'll have to take this medicine and realize, no, I really love communication. But could you just complete? And you know, with education, you have the opportunity to always take another course. Yeah. So for these young guys, they have young brains. And most of these people, you find out that they don't know their passion or they don't know a career yet. So they'll go to someone who maybe they feel earns a lot of money or something that looks prestigious, or sometimes the way Daktari is saying, or the teachers tell them. And to me, that's fine. At least they have a basis of where to start from. And these are young people, 20, 21. They have a whole life ahead of them. They can always identify. For me, the way I told you, my university decided, you can do communications. Do communications. And that was the best decision ever. I learned a lot about myself. Sometimes just take what's there and let's continue with it. Your career is not necessarily your education. Yeah? Of course, they build the wheel of life, but you can always change. You can always identify what's good for you. And if you're lucky enough, it can build up to your career. Yeah.
Okay, and of course, one would want a path that it's so certain, because we don't have so much time. Yes, they say that life is short. Others say maisha ni marefu, but you don't have so much time to make mistakes. So how do you ensure that, yes, you're feeling that what you want to study is this premium course, the opportunities are not as many? What do they do as they approach the platform in the coming days to make their revision?
When we open the platform, we encourage the students to first find out, what am I good at? What do I love doing? Because you'll be spending 8 hours at a place of work. It has to be something that you enjoy doing. So I ask myself, what do I love doing? What am I good at? Like Dr. Njoki said, there are people who just can't handle blood. So clearly, you're not good in the space of, emergencies and all that. Can I draw? There are those who said, and I give an example of my son. My firstborn said he wanted to do game development. And we supported him. He went into it and realized for you to do game development, you need to be good in graphic, to be able to kind of do some illustrations. And he realized he couldn't draw, so he changed back to computer science. So you need to identify, what is this that I'm good at? What do I love doing? What does the world need? The world keeps changing with technology and everything, but we have to be people who serve a purpose. I get very discouraged when I ask students in school, why do you want to do the course you want to do? For example, a boys' school, and I went there and I asked, what is it you'd love to do? And they said either a policeman or a procurement officer.
Why?
To get money.
Wow.
You know, those are, yeah. So very unfortunate. Others say they want to do computer science so that they can rob the bank.
Oh.
So it's really sad that we have young people who are now thinking about money and how to make money in the quickest way possible. So let's look at making a difference in the world in a positive way. So what is this that the world needs? We are living now in the era of COVID. Look at what technology is doing, you know. We wouldn't be where we are even as a country. So let's encourage the young people to serve a purpose. Of course, there is the issue of paying. You want a job that will put food on your table. So that is an important thing. We cannot say that it's not important. So as we open the system, I would really encourage the students out there. Choose your career. It is your career, your choice, not about the university. And I've heard that even from the students who are interviewed yesterday and today. I want medicine, University of Nairobi. Now, University of Nairobi has about 100 opportunities for medicine. We have 800 A's. They cannot all fit in University of Nairobi. We have other universities, both public and private, Moi University, Mount Kenya, Kabarak, that are offering medicine, and the government pays for this for students in those universities. So let us be very keen. Parents, let's not help the students to choose the university, but the course and you know, what they are gifted in. I love the way that we are now going into CBC, because CBC is all about their talents, their competencies, and will move away from, you know, this straight jacket of A's and...
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I want us to take a few tweets of what Kenyans and especially the students are asking, because you have an opportunity. I mean, we have quite a good pool of experts who've been through it, had their stories, and you've heard some of them. So you can tweet us at Citizen TV Kenya, at Sam Gituku. The hashtag to use is Daybreak, and we'll be sampling some of your questions and concerns that you raise. But first, let's take a look at what you've been saying on Twitter. Well, I have to run and say it. This is Philip Kieti. College is important. There's a lot of weed and cake over there, but the degree isn't really important. I'm a degree holder, but I still struggle to eke out a living. But in general, college life is such a teacher, even better than experience. Of course, giving the role of what college plays. Technical skills have become invaluable nowadays. Gadara, are we asking why we have nearly 3/4 of kids scoring D+ and below? What does this mean, and what does it say about the state of our education system, and why the media obsession of our exam results if CBC is meant to de-emphasize examinations? Well, there are some results that were released yesterday. They affect people, 747,000 learners. We have to talk about them because InvestLab is saying as tech advances in different fields and as opportunities overlap, different sources of information, especially on personal finance, finding skills that require no degree are going to greatly impact the future of our students after high school. Life skills, and I think Vincent was able to elaborate that and what it has done for him. But Dr. Njoki Fernandez, of course, there's someone there who is asking why the obsession with examination results, and like I'm saying, I mean, it's a reality that there are people that have been affected by this. But as you look into choosing these careers, of course, you hear parents say, I want my child to do this and that. They didn't score an A plane, but now they'll be looking for opportunities. If the kid wanted to be, if the student wanted to be a doctor, they'll find opportunities where they can actually pay for it. What are the merits or demerits of this, and how does it affect the performance of these learners, especially those that may not have scored as high to qualify for those programs?
It's an interesting question. I think first we need to identify what are the skill sets of the child. Can that child manage a medical-related career? It doesn't have to be medicine to begin with. The way medicine has evolved now, we actually have students who get into nursing. They do, they go to the KMTC, they do nursing, they practice nursing for a few years, and then when they're a bit older and they're a bit more mature, they actually go back to medical school and they qualify as doctors. So we have the same thing even for clinical officers. They go to KMTC first, they grow a bit, and they learn a bit more, so that by the time they're getting into medicine, it's actually easier for them. But you need to understand the skill set of the child. You don't want to do medicine because really they have the capacity. Capacity is important. Goodwill is one thing, but capacity is what is going to let you down. And if the child has the capacity, maybe they need to do it at a lower level. And we should not just glorify neurosurgeons, you know, orthopedic surgeons, cardiac surgeons. There's such noble careers in medicine, like nursing, for example. Nursing is a noble career, and there is no doctor, there is no hospital that will run without a good nursing team. And we have highly specialized nurses right now for pediatric nursing, nephrology nursing, cardiac nursing, you know, ICU nursing. So you can actually go to a very high level in your career and still serve that satisfaction as a nurse. So these are the things that we need to look about. Dentistry, like Madam CEO has said, they're the consultant dentistry, but they're also the oral technologists who have a role to play in the dental health of the community. So it's good to really understand what the child can do. That is one thing. What the child is passionate about, that's another thing. Because once you get in there, it is a long grind, yeah? And you have to be able to go through the motions and to complete the course with its ups and downs. And there's something that I'd like to emphasize that is very important that we seem to forget. When your toilet is blocked or your sink in the kitchen is blocked, you look for a plumber. And we're always complaining we don't have good plumbers. But at that point when your sink is leaking, you will pay any amount of money to get somebody who is good to come and sort out your sink, or that smell in your toilet, or that guy doesn't have a degree, true or not, but he has a profession. The people who do Watu Mjengo, the supervisors on the construction site, the guys who, the masons, the very good carpenters, these guys don't have degrees, but you will not do without a carpenter. That electrician, when your fuse blows, in fact, I want a gentleman's number, because clearly, you know, when your fuse blows and your house is in darkness, you need an electrician there and then. That guy doesn't have a degree, but they are so useful in society. So we need everybody. Someone was saying the other day, when someone dies, we need coffin makers. These guys don't have degrees, but you need a coffin. You need it from somewhere, you know. So people who do flower arrangements, people who put up tents for events, people who are drivers. There are so many opportunities to earn a decent living. And in Kenya, we are the land of hustlers, and we are hustlers for real. There's so much opportunity in farming. We are all eating food every day. And the people who made money, even during COVID times when we were all working from home, the farmers were in their shambas feeding all of us, isn't it? So their lives continued when we were busy lamenting that we've been laid off our jobs. So let us think globally. Let us think holistically. There will be a few doctors, there will be a few engineers, there will be a few architects, that is true. But what about the staff that support the medical industry? The people who buy the supplies, the people who make the PPEs, the people who import the drugs, the cleaners in these institutions, security. There's so much to support, and everyone can earn a living if you just think outside the box, you know? That's what I'm saying. So even to that person
and Dr. Fernandez, obviously now, people who can manufacture vaccines, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Correct. Absolutely. Absolutely. People who can not just figure out how the vaccine works, but who can actually now manufacture, put it together, and produce them en mass. That is where the money is. You know, huge production. People who are making PPEs are making a lot of money. Campaigns are coming, so we will all need T-shirts, we will all need hats, we will all need billboards. If you can roll out that, you will be smiling all the way to the bank for the next 4 years. So let us think outside the box, and let us encourage our children to get any training, a bit of finance, a bit of entrepreneurship, a bit of skill that can help them move on with their life. And let's not just think that because you didn't get that A, you didn't go to medicine, you're a less of a career. Of course, to the doctors, the potential doctors, karibuni sana, we are waiting for you. We will handhold you because we also need you, right?
All right.
But,
Okay. Oh, all right. And Eunice, looking at that, because there's quite a bit of transformation that has happened in this country, probably over the past 10, 15 years, that it's no longer about the white-collar jobs. I mean, what moves this country is not necessarily the A graders. So how do you reconcile that reality at such a time that you've received your result and you've seen someone here asking whether we should be worried about 400,000 people, 405,000 people scoring a D+ and below? How do you reconcile all this social pressure, the sadness of scoring what you scored, but then again, raising up and picking a course that will sustain your life for the remainder of your life as you walk into adulthood?
Yeah, I think I'd like to go back to my story. On that day I got my C plane, I felt like the most stupid person on earth. You know, I wasn't really happy about it. But it meant I had to, for me, I took it as I have to work extra hard to put my seat on the table. Some people will probably get universities that's what I thought. People would get into public universities, people would study what they want, but for me, I had to bring my seat and put it up on the table. Something I feel about the education system in Kenya, you've received a certificate, Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education. You're a certified practitioner. It doesn't matter if you took 8 courses or 8 units or 8 classes. There's some other things that you also developed. You learned how to make friends, yeah? I saw a video of this young guy who was on top of a tire and just doing some, I was like, wow, you have mad skills. You know, the fact that you're already certified, I know it comes with like a transcript right there, but up here is the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education, Eunice Victoria, and you come from Kenya, you're a professional, you're a certified person. So that means you can start from somewhere. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I know guys who have passed right now are like, oh yeah, I have the world in my hand, I can become. But even you right there who has gotten a C like me, who has gotten a C+ or even an E, let me tell you, you can start from somewhere. And then you have an advantage because you'll bring your seat, make your seat, and put it there on the table and start afresh. You have, and you're so young, you have the whole world in your hand. You can create anything, almost anything. You can become anything. And let me tell you, someone like me who wanted to become a doctor, do you know now, I research about medicine. I write on healthcare. And sometimes I find stories about healthcare, things that happen in the house about health, diabetes, cancer, PIV, anything else. And I'm so fascinated about it. And mental health as well. I write about it and I get emails saying, you know what, I'm also suffering with this. I had this and this, I'm feeling this. What do I do? And I refer them to somewhere else. So let me tell you, your dream is always valid, but whatever, sometimes, this whole KCP, KCSE is a system that we have to follow. Once you're in Kenya, you have to follow this system and trust the very abled people who are responsible for that. And when you're chosen for this course, please do it very, very well, the best of your ability. And when you get other courses where other trainings, maybe you didn't qualify for a university, it's also time for you to now develop that skills you've always loved. If it's writing, you can write. If it's dancing, all the skills. I mean, right now in 2021, actually 2020 and beyond, it's about skill. Sure. It's about creating opportunities for yourself. It's about finding things that you can solve. And let me tell you, those people who find solutions, that's where money is. Right. If you want to find money, look for as more opportunities to get solutions. Yeah.
And Vincent, of course, you haven't dispensed with your story. So you've qualified with a certificate at Thika Polytechnic. You get into the job market, and then you decide to go back for a diploma at the Kenya Polytechnic. Why this? And what was that moment that you felt, now this is it, and finally, I am an important person? What I've got.
And to tell you the truth, I didn't finish Kenya Polytechnic. I didn't. From there, because you end up looking at what you are doing and what is expected of you, because my sister was still also studying, and I'm like, now money is more important then. Now, I've done this, whatever I have, let me now look over, you know, actually, even operating a computer, I didn't study that. I just realized, okay, I can just go to small places where I can learn this. And there is a lot of information out there, on internet. You learn there, you learn a lot of things. And you find that whatever you learned in school, maybe the first year, you see, this is what I was learning. This is what I can Google and learn. This is what I can see in online classes. This is what I can read. And then you see, okay, the information is a lot, actually. But you find that you get to think outside, broad. It's not like you are thinking in only one line. You think broadly. And that's the reason why I ended up just doing my own thing, not being employed. Because if I come to you, I tell you, I did electrical and electronics. But how will I help you, actually? Because electrical and electronics, yes, the electronics we have. Electricals, yes, you can do wiring and everything. But how will it mean nitakuandika kazi gani, ufanye gani, unless you just be there. Now, and from there, I started building some amplifiers, making a living out of amplifier, making a living from there. Small amplifier, you use it in your house. And then there is this subwoofer that came in the market. Kama mwenye yako na Ampex, then it seems...
You had not made it in life.
Yes, you never... That one came and then destroyed everything. Actually, me and my friend, there's a friend of mine that we tulikuwa nafanya kwa nyumba. We just buy these things at Luduli, the what do you call it? The components, because already we have a rough idea how it works, how everything. In fact, the first project in electronics, electrical and in electronics, it is just to make a small circuit. Okay, so we assemble it and then we sell it. Assemble, sell. The UFA came, we were out of market, so we became now the fundi wa kuripea. So, yeah, because you know how it works. So you just start maintaining them one by one. But a time came that in electrical, there are so many people, watu wa mkono, who are very qualified. So you can't get any decent job even if you go to do unalipwa tu hivi.
Right.
And in electronics, you find that, yes, there are some people who have went to these short courses also. They are good in that. So mafundi wa radio ni wengi. So you need to...
So how do you end up now that you're designing and making speed governors?
Yes. That time there was this analog speed governors before.
Which year was this?
It was around 2014 there. 2014, yes, 2014 there. It was in the market. I met somebody while I was doing that thing of maintaining a shower imeharibika. I come change it, circuit has blown, socket, I come change it. I met someone, and then from there, he told me that I am dealing with speed governors. I distribute, I manufacture speed governors, okay? He's somebody who facilitates, okay? And he has somebody else who does the assembling and then designing and assembling and selling it. How will you help each other? Whoa, I became so interested. Nikamwambia, hiyo ndio line yangu. Hiyo ndio bring it here. Nikaiona, nikamwambia, this is locally manufactured. In local, nakwambia, in local. Everything here, I can know this is local. Because Chinese or even from outside the country, you can know is more sophisticated.
Right.
So I told him a little bit about it. Nikamwambia, I know how it works. So he took me to the workshop where the guy who was making it, who was manufacturing and assembling it, he had so many guys, you know, like a table and everything, component is there, you assemble it. So it started from there. I started from there, I gained interest in how microprocessor works, and I started to asking the guy about it, how it works and everything, and then akaniambia hii mambo tu ni internet tu. We kama ubali uende shule, sahi umezeeka na uko na watoto. That time I had one kid actually. Umezeeka, ukienda shule, you have no time for this. Actually, if you do it, just learn the information. Akanionyesha a lot of things. From there, went to now the digital speed governance. It was a transition between analog and digital. Right now, we are in another different generation of speed governance. They call it hybrid, which is more sophisticated, which is combined with the car track and speed governance.
And you're able to work on that?
I participated in the technical committee, which comprises NTSA, Kenya Bureau of Standard, and CMT, Chief Mechanical Engineers, how to come up with this speed governor and how it should work. So in the same speed governor, there is my idea there. So I feel proud that even if maybe somebody don't know how this speed governor works, there is my idea there. There is how it works. I know everything about it. I'm working with a certain company right now that they do sell speed governor, manufacturing, and also distributing the speed governors right now.
So inspiring. And if anyone is wondering what the more than 405,000 who scored a D+ and below, they're going to do, he's an example. He has made it in such a short period of time. And Dr. Wahome, so listening to all this, and there's that worry about now you choose your course, the satisfaction doesn't come as immediately, especially those that will have chosen the premium courses. You don't exactly get what you find, you go revise, you get another course, you become disappointed, it starts affecting you as a person, you slide into other issues, like you saw someone talking about the college life and what it is. How do you deal with all this? Because life sometimes brings dissatisfaction.
Yes, life sometimes can bring dissatisfaction, but I think the most important thing to first understand is where did we go wrong? We talk about careers when students are already maybe in their Form 3, Form 4. That's when you find schools inviting career masters, writing to COOPs and asking us to go and do career guidance. Career guidance should start, you know, from very low, as early as 8, 10 years, you should be able to see the strengths, the talents in a student. We have people who are very good in sports, but we still put a lot of pressure. So a fast runner will be pressurized, may end up in that premium course, and probably what they would rather do is be in the field. So if I can get them to even do sports science, they would excel in that area rather than medicine, or they can do physiotherapy. So I think I see a lot of issues with the parenting that we have currently, and that's why you find students will go and say, you know, they got the degree, but they are talking about keg and weed in college. Why are students going into this? What is this state of hopelessness? And for me, I really enjoy the space I am in now, because maybe what I didn't finish saying is that with my courses, I've been in research, a lot of social research, and that's how I ended up at COOPs, you know, to go and start up the research department. And from there, I'm able to study the students' behavior, especially in career choices, and you can already predict trouble. If we don't actually move into the CBC, where we are appreciating competencies, talents, and gifts, we are really going to lose a generation. Because life is not just about academics. Life is not about academics. We are seeing also people who look dissatisfied, disgruntled in life, because they put so much focus on books. And I challenge the ladies. You find they will say, I will not get children, I will not get married because I have to to study until I get a PhD or whatever stage in my academics. Then you realize the biological clock was not waiting for you. So now you're running, struggling to get any person available, trying all methods to get babies. I mean, life, there has to be a balance in everything. Lack of that life balance, you will, you know, you can't spend, even if you end up in the career of your choice, you can't spend your life there. There's more to life. There's the social aspects, religious aspects. So just working to get this balance, like Eunice talked about the wheel, you call it the wheel of life. The wheel of life. I think that's the conversation we should be looking at.
Okay. Yeah. Very interesting. I want us to take a look at some of the feedback that you've been sharing with us on via Twitter. Citizen TV Kenya, Sam Gituku. This is Engineer Lazaro. The mistake, we upgraded almost all polytechnics to universities by the Kibaki regime, is now haunting us. I can recall days when Kenya Polytechnics electronics students were in a tight competition with their NYS counterparts during practicals. Jacob Abere, every stage in life has a turning point. Now exams are out. Whether one scored cool E or A isn't a measure of one's destiny. It's an appraisal stage. And that is why we have seen those who scored 170 KCPE or in KCPE have scored B plus KCSE and vice versa. Wamalwa Wakuloba, you say, in our time, great emphasis was on direct university entry grades because many of us couldn't afford fees for, what is SS? I don't know what
self-sponsored.
Self-sponsored, okay. Colleges and TVET, but today the government has made academic life a lot easier. TVET is virtually free thanks to government capitation. And dude Fulani, it's all about what you want to be. Failing to get grades to enable one to get to the university doesn't imply being a failure. Opportunity exists in TVET, and for those who may not have achieved the university cut-off grade or wish to enter into the practical, the hands-on, the world of work. And well, we'll look at more later. Okay, fine. George Odhiambo, you're saying, as long as we encourage kids or students, let's do it with sincerity. Let us not lie to children. Good results matter. How can we bear the burden of taking them to good schools, providing every need, yet when they fail, we tell them good results isn't key to life? I mean, what do you do? I mean, put yourself in a practical sense. Your child has come home and they've scored what they never aspired to get. What do you do after that? And that's the question I want to pose to Dr. Njoki Fernandez, because we may talk and say a lot of things. We may go to the best of schools, score the best of grades, study the best of courses, and become the best of whatever life has to offer. But what more counts in life? Apart from the academics, what does it have to do with self-discipline and what you do to manage your life?
Thank you, Sammy. You know, the most important thing about this whole education journey, this education and learning journey, is that we are good citizens of our country, that we are dependable, that we are able to contribute to the development of our nation, that we are able to raise a good family, to support those around us. Ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what counts. And so education is a means to an end, and it's not an end in itself. So in as much as we are discussing what do I want to study, what career do I want to study, where do I want to be in the next 10 years, we need to look at this life holistically and think, what kind of a person do I want to be? What do I want my contribution to society to be? What is my impact? When they talk about Loki, what did I do to make this world a better place? And that's the most important thing. And so you realize that even as you're forming a student in a certain career, we need to give them an all-round personality. So you're going to be a doctor, yes, but you cannot just focus on medicine. You need to have knowledge of finance. You need to have knowledge in communication. You need to have knowledge in banking. You need to have knowledge in computer studies, communication, so that you're an all-rounded human being. And that also means that you don't necessarily have to work in medicine as a career. We know doctors who are ambassadors. We know doctors who are working in banks. You know, doctors who are working in communication institutions, because these people took the time to be all-rounded, not just, you know, wearing the white coat and stethoscope. They went and did other things. And then there are also other skills that you need to acquire in life. We all need to learn how to be honest. We need to have integrity. We need to be dependable, that you keep your word, that people can count on you. Yeah, and these are important no matter what career you get into. You need to have prudence. You need to be a person who works hard, a person who is able to rise up the ladder from low beginnings and be persistent and consistent as you go up. And this is one of the things that we need to teach our children. Your child wants to, these children of nowadays, we call them the instant generation. You want to get your first job and drive a Mercedes and live in Loresho or Runda. It's not possible. They need to learn that you need to persevere and you need to persist and you need to climb the ladder. And these are skills that even as parents, we're not teaching our children. So as they get into the world of work, you find that they're on their phones the whole day. They're not able to complete reports on time. They're not able to beat deadlines. You correct them and they go sulking and they resign from the job the next day simply because they were given a simple correction. So these life skills are so important to make sure, and this is something I'd like to challenge Madam CEO, maybe even as they're looking at their courses at the university, they need to introduce these common courses or life skills, because they're not taught in many universities and in many colleges. These skills that are not academic, but they help the students become all-round career professionals, all-round good citizens, all-round better human beings, you know. Then they won't spend too much time on the weed and on the alcohol and, you know, stuff like that.
I know Dr. Wahome here has something to say about that, but before we do so, let's take a look at some figures, some statistics that will make you think a bit harder. That in 2016, 942,000 candidates sat the examination, that is KCPE of that year. And this is the class that got the results yesterday of KCSE. And you can imagine out of 942,000, only 747,000 were able to sit that exam. The reason being 5,441 had registered for the exam but never sat. And those that nobody knows where they are is 189,000. So it's what you may call quote-unquote wastage through the system. And therefore, those unaccounted for after the examination are 21%, majority of them being girls, 101,000, and majority of those that you cannot account for are in the parts of the coastal counties, including Kilifi, Kwale, Tana River, and some in Marsabit. And of course, different explanation has been given, especially with the disruptions that may come, distractions that may come. But Dr. Wahome, you wanted to say something, which I would want you to also talk a little bit about the wastage that we see. Nearly 200,000 candidates of KCPE 2016, 4 years later, nobody knows where they are.
Yeah, that's true, Sam, and it's really sad. But when you look at the regions, Kwale, Kilifi, Marsabit, the population in those areas are the ones that marry off the girls very early. And when you look at the numbers, 100,000 are female. So you can see we still have issues with our cultural practices in those areas and marrying off of our girls. But it's very interesting. For me as a researcher, that's a place I'd love to come. Yes, we still have a lot of issues. We don't have enough time to cover all issues that would love to discuss issues of careers. But I'd like to just let the public know that we have a book here, the Essential Career Guide, that has been developed by COOPS to try and guide students from A to E, you know, regardless of your grade, the different careers that you can get into, the mistakes that people make when they are choosing their careers, the aspects to look at in terms of your, you know, individual skills, gifts that can help you choose your careers, and then within the careers themselves, what are those abilities that you must have, you know, so that you're not getting into broadcasting and you're a shy person. So it guides you on
what it takes.
What it takes, and also the institutions that we have in the country, that will admit you for the various courses that you'd love to do. So it's available in bookshops for 350 shillings, and also in our offices and Huduma centers in the country.
A very important material, and we would need to wind up. I have just a minute. I want to split it into 20 seconds each. So for you, Vincent, so now your final word for this class as they start the journey to their destiny.
Final word, okay, I can talk to the top and the bottom. The top ones, to you, things might be easy, but on the other hand, there is that thing of knowing yourself. As long as you know yourself, whatever you say, maybe doctor, maybe whatever you want to be, just go on with it. The bottom ones, now, that is where you need to think of what you're good at, because there is difference between somebody who is book dependent and the other one who is skilled in terms of doing things manually and all that.
Okay.
And that's why the doctor said that we need plumbers. You don't need a lot of books to study about how to connect pipes. We need a lot of, you know, these careers here. People, I've seen somebody who is a very good ni mkulima mzuri sana. Ana akona nguruwe, kuku na kila kitu. Na is living a nice life better than even the engineer.
Okay, a decent life.
Yes.
Eunice, your final word on this.
I think what I feel, or what I'd say, is that everyone has influence. And you can start from wherever you are. Whatever grade you got, you can start from there. And there's always somewhere to start from. You always have something to start with. And that's where you start. So you have to identify, what do I have right now? Is it a good mark? Is it some skills I have? Okay. And I also want to say that people who have learning disabilities, who probably needed more time, you know, to study or something like that, but the system did not allow them. Don't feel bad about any of that. You can still have time to kind of go through what you're good at and learn it slowly anywhere how that works for you.
And indeed, you have the rest of your life to do exactly that. And that's our time. I wish you could do this more. There's Eddie Onditi who is saying that all top students seem to be going for medicine. They lack inspiration from Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, etc.
Yes.
The world has changed. Technology and accounting are on the driver's seat. And I don't need to add anything more. Just think about it. I mean, life, it can be long, it can be short. Depends on how you choose it. But most importantly, my high school teacher told me many years ago that the most important thing is for you to be in a position to manage your life, which I think is very important if you're to lead a comfortable and decent life. My name is Sam Gituko. Thank you so much, Dr. Agnes Wahome, Eunice, Victoria Omolo, and Vincent Oburu, as well as Dr. Njoki Fernandez, an obstetrician, a gynecologist who's joining us via way of Skype for making time for us. Up next is Matter Social with Willis Roburu. He's already in studio, and he'll be taking you through the aspects this morning. Bye for now.